With the announcement that John Ternus, the Senior Vice President of Hardware Engineering, will succeed Tim Cook as CEO in September 2026, Apple is sending a loud and clear message to the world. The era of the operator is ending, and the era of the builder is beginning. If you're a fan of Apple, or just someone who follows the tech landscape, this transition is the most significant moment for the company since 2011. To understand where Apple is going, you have to understand who John Ternus is. Unlike Cook, whose background was in logistics and operations, Ternus is an engineer to his core. Since joining the company in 2001, he's had his hands on almost everything that makes Apple, well, Apple. From the transition to Apple Silicon to the development of the Vision Pro and every major iPad redesign, Ternus has been the architect behind the glass and aluminum that we carry in our pockets. His appointment signals that Apple believes its next decade of growth won't come from just selling more subscriptions. It's going to come from breakthrough hardware that we haven't even seen yet. Now, you might be wondering why Apple is making this pivot now. The reality is that the tech world is currently obsessed with artificial intelligence, and many critics argue that Apple has been uncharacteristically slow to the party. While Google and Microsoft are battling it out in the cloud, Apple's strategy under Ternus appears to be different. They're not trying to build the biggest data center in the world. They're trying to build the smartest device in your hand. Under Ternus, the hardware strategy is shifting toward on-device AI. By leveraging their custom silicon, Apple wants to run complex AI models directly on your iPhone or Mac. This isn't just about speed, it's about privacy. If the data never leaves your device, Apple maintains its core promise of security. For Ternus, hardware isn't just a container for software. It is the primary engine that makes AI actually useful and private for the average person. But it's not just about iPhones. The rumors coming out of the hardware labs suggest some wild new directions. We're hearing more and more about Apple's serious push into home robotics. Imagine a tabletop assistant with a robotic arm that follows your movement during a FaceTime call, or even mobile robots designed to help with household tasks. It sounds like science fiction, but for an engineer like Ternus, who actually built robotic feeding arms for quadriplegics back in his college days, this is a natural evolution of the Apple ecosystem. Of course, this road isn't without its bumps. One of the biggest questions viewers often ask is whether Apple can keep up with the sheer speed of AI innovation while maintaining its "it just works" philosophy. There's also the looming challenge of the supply chain. Ternus inherits a world of shifting tariffs and a heavy reliance on manufacturing in China. While Tim Cook was the master of navigating these waters, Ternus will have to prove he can maintain those high margins while moving production to places like India and Vietnam. If you're finding this deep dive into Apple's future leadership interesting, do me a quick favor and hit that like button. It really helps the channel grow, and if you want to stay updated on how the tech landscape is changing under leaders like Ternus, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss the next video. Another major piece of the Ternus puzzle is the form factor problem. For 10 years, the iPhone has essentially been a black glass slab, but the competition is already folding, flipping, and rolling their screens. Under Ternus, we're finally seeing the roadmap for the foldable iPhone accelerate. The reports suggest that Apple is no longer content to wait on the sidelines. They want to reinvent the category with a device that doesn't just fold, but does so with a durability and thinness that rivals haven't achieved yet. Speaking of durability, that's another area where Ternus has been very vocal. He's often pushed back against the idea that repairability is the only metric for a good product. To him, a product that is so durable that it never needs a repair is the ultimate goal. While that might frustrate some DIY enthusiasts, it's a peek into his philosophy. Hardware should be a seamless, long-lasting extension of the user. As we move toward the official handover in September, the stakes couldn't be higher. Apple is a $4 trillion company facing a world that is moving faster than ever. By choosing a hardware veteran, the board is betting that Apple's true moat isn't its marketing or its bank account, but its ability to build physical things that no one else can replicate. John Ternus isn't just taking over a company, he's taking over a legacy of innovation. Whether it's AI-powered glasses, home robots, or the next generation of the Mac, the Ternus era is going to be defined by the stuff we touch and feel. It's a return to the product-first mentality that Steve Jobs championed, but with the modern engineering scale that only Apple can provide. The next few years are going to be a fascinating ride. We're moving past the era of incremental updates and into a period where the hardware itself is about to get a lot more interesting. The question is, are we ready for a world where our devices don't just sit in our pockets, but actually move and think alongside us?